So for every verse of the chapter, which starts in Chaitanya Charitamrita, the whole summary is there in the whole chapter. So Sri Gundicha Mandiram Atma Vrinde Samarjayam Kla Shalantam Shalanta Sagaura Swachittas Vach Chittalam Ujvalam Cha Krishno Pavesho Upaikitam Chakara. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu washed and cleansed the Gundicha temple with his devotee associates. In this way, he made it as cool as and as bright as his own heart, and thus he made the temple befitting place for Lord Krishna to sit. So there are two, three pastimes in this. One is this Gundicha Mahajanam, and before that also we'll see different things. Jaya Jaya Gaura Chandra Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vinda. All glories to Gaur Chandra, all glories to Nityananda, all glories to Advaita Acharya, and all glories to devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jaya Jaya Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Gana Shakti Deha Kariyena Chaitanya Varnana. All glories to the devotees of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu headed by Shivas Thakur. I beg their power so that I can properly describe Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Purve Dakshine Haite Prabhu Yabe Aila Tare Milita Gajapati Utkanta Haila. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned from the South Indian tour, Maharaj Pratapruta, king of Orissa, became very anxious to meet him. The king sent a letter from his capital Kataka to Sarvam Bhattacharya, entreating him to obtain the Lord's permission so that he could go and see him. So we know the story of Pratapruta Maharaj. So Pratapruta Maharaj is the son of Purushottam Rai, and Purushottam Rai had around 18 brothers, out of which Purushottam Rai was the youngest of all. And his story is also very unique, but not today. Sometimes we will see that story also. So replying to the king's letter, the Bhattacharya Lord wrote that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had not given his permission. After this, the king wrote him another letter. And then in the letter, the king requested Swami Bhattacharya, please appeal to all the devotees associated with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and submit this petition to them on my behalf. If all the devotees associated with Lord are favorably disposed toward me, they can submit my petition at the lotus feet of the Lord. By the mercy of all the devotees, one can attain the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Without his mercy, my kingdom does not avail me. So one of the important points here is that if we want to go back to Godhead, we need mercy of all the devotees. If we do not have mercy of devotees, we cannot go back to Godhead. And therefore, the very important point here is we have the treasure, but the treasure keys are there with the devotees. So if the devotees do not give their keys, will not go back to Godhead. So if God or Hari, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will not show mercy to me, I shall give up my kingdom, become a mendicant, beg from door to door. So if we see King Pratapruta Maharaj intensity to go back to Godhead or to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very high. So if we also want to go back to Godhead, we need such type of intensity. If we are just doing our sensory rounds somehow or other in the morning, and then we are just loitering around, hearing sometimes, sometimes not, sometimes we do some services not, we shall not be having that intensity to go back to Godhead. And trust me, the entry to come to Krishna consciousness is very big, but the exit to go back to God is very small. It is like in a house or in a room, we have a big door to come inside. So that is the inside. But we have that exhaust fan in our home. So that is the exit. So it is too small. So to go back to God, it is not easy. Anybody can start bhakti, but not many will go back to Godhead. The number of people going back to Godhead will be very small, very, very small. And that also aspiring for pure devotional service is very, very rare. So therefore, we should be very careful. When the Bhattacharya received the letter, he became very anxious. He then took the letter and went to the devotees of the Lord. Swami Bhattacharya met with all the devotees and described the king's wishes. Then he presented the letter to all of them for inspection. So even in Mana Siksha, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami says, whenever we are met with any obstacle, like sometimes lust attacks us, sometimes anger attacks us, we should go to the devotees. And devotees are only our shelter. And therefore, here also, Swamipati again went to the devotees and presented the case. Patra dekhi sabara man haila vismaya, Prabhu pare gajapatira eka bhakti haya. Upon reading the letter, everyone was astonished to see King Prataprudra had so much devotion for the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, when other devotees have devotion to the Lord, how do we feel? When others progress in their devotional service, how do we feel? Will actually speak of how we are progressing devotional service. So, if we see in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu praises Rup Goswami, Sanatan Goswami in front of Rai Ramanand and others, and they feel jubilant. So one of the aspects of Krishna consciousness is that how much are we pleased in seeing others progress. When others are given some services, when others are glorified, and when others are given some positions, when others show so much devotion, then how much do we hanker for them, or how much are we happy? So this is a very important thing to understand. If we are not happy seeing others progress, within some time our progress will also be halted. So very important thing we should note. And the most important thing is, see, if a singer is there and if a speaker is being glorified, there is no problem. But in front of singer, if another speaker is glorified, then he feels envy. So therefore, one should try to not be envious as far as possible. सब कहे प्रभु तारा कबू ना मिलीबा आमी सब कही यदि दुख से मानिबा. So the devotees gave their opinion and said, the Lord will never meet the king, and if we request him to do so, the Lord will surely feel very unhappy. So this is a very situation where you cannot say also, and you cannot even keep quiet. So this is called the devotees are fixed. They cannot even express what is in the heart. At the same time, they cannot stop also. So this is like situation we are so many times in, and devotees are saying that we cannot request, and at the same time, we cannot even keep quiet. Since Sarvam kahe sava chale ek baar milite na kabhi kahi ba kahibe raja vyavhar. So Swami says we shall go to once at the king a lot, but we shall not request him to meet the king. Rather, we shall simply describe the good behavior of the king. So very important thing. See, most of the times now, when we meet devotees, in front of devotees, we say good, very good things. But when we are speaking with others, what happens is, we generally sometimes we speak bad about a devotee in front of others. Or when a devotee is not there, we may sometimes speak bad. But what happens with this is now, the other devotee who is hearing the bad side of the person which we are speaking. After some time, he understands that, oh, he must be speaking bad about me also to others. In this way, what happens is most of devotees will run away from us. Instead, what we should do, if we have some problem with other devotee, we should speak in front. But in the back of the devotee, we should always describe the good qualities of devotee. In that way, our reputation will also be increased. At the same time, what will happen is we'll also progress in devotion service. So here, what is happening is the king is not there, but Sarvam Bhattacharya is trying his best to describe the good behavior of the king. So to describe the good behavior of the king is very much necessary. And in this way, what will happen is the king will also have good reputation in front of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we should always try to upbring others' reputation and not to degrade. Otherwise, whatever we see in others, after some time, it will also reflect in us also. We'll also have some same qualities which we speak in others. And then, Eta boli sab gele Mahaprabhu sthane kahita unmukhe sab na kahe vajane. So having thus reached a decision, they all went to the place of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There, although they ready to speak, they could not even utter a word. Sometimes what happens is we want to speak about something, but we know others will be unhappy, so we don't speak. So observation plays a very greater role, because here say after they arrived Chaitanya Mahaprabhu place, Lord seeing them said, what have you all come here to say? I see that you want to say something, but you do not speak. What is the reason? So our observation plays a very vital role. See, some things are spoken, but most of the things are not spoken, which are there in devotee's heart. So if you can know what is unspoken, that will help us to make a big, greater devotee. So unspoken words are greater communication than spoken words. So most of things are not spoken. And therefore, a very good observant can become a good devotee. A devotee needs to observe each and every situation in the life, each and every devotee. He just need to observe. He did not judge. Just observation will make him good devotee. And like here also, we have so many devotees who are senior devotees. They are very good observers. They'll not speak anything, but they know each and everything of the devotee, how will speak. And depending on that, one gets responsibility in life. Depending on that, one gets some position, some perks. At the same time, one is being judged in the line of devotion. And most of the times we see that while giving Brahman initiation, while going for yatras, that time they will count all these things. In general, they will allow everyone to practice bhakti. But when there's the choice of responsibility, then from every angle they will speak. They will speak, or they will hear, and also they will judge the person and then only give the responsibility. Therefore, here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying that you all have come here to say, but I see that you are not speaking. What is the reason? So in this way, if the devotee is expert, he can bring out from others what is not told. So therefore, very important thing that one should have the quality to bring good in from others, or can bring something what is not able to speak. So we should give them confidence that do not worry. See, sometimes the devotees don't speak because they know if I speak today, tomorrow it will become a Bhagavatam class, or the example will come in public, or like this, they have so much fear. So it's our responsibility to assure them that they will never ever become a Bhagavatam. They will not, the example will not come in Bhagavatam class, or their life will not become public. So this is a very important responsibility which a mentor or a counselor has, because they have to hear so many problems of so many devotees. And if even by chance, if they speak sometimes, I know one devotee who ran away from the program never came because his example was being told. And he knew that it is my example, so he never came. So very important thing that we should respect others' shortcomings also. And then Nityan Prabhu then said, we want to tell you something, although we cannot stay without speaking, we are still very much afraid to speak. So Nityan was saying, we want to speak, but we're afraid. And they're saying, we want to submit before you something that may or may not be befitting. The matter is this, unless he sees you, the king of Orissa will become a mendicant. So ultimately, the devotees say that we will just speak what is there. So sometimes we have to take this tough decision of speaking our mind. See how much time will make others happy in life. We have seen that, especially Matais don't speak to others. They think that let the family be first, let the children be first, and they don't speak only much, whatever they have been told to. But after some time, we see the same Matajis, they are depressed. If you see emotionally troubled, because they're overthinking. And therefore, sometimes it's better to speak what is there and be relieved. And here they say that we'll speak, and unless he sees you, the king also become mendicant. And Nityavam Karuna, the king has decided to become mendicant, accept the sign of a mendicant by wearing an ivory earring. He does not want to enjoy his kingdom without seeing the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in material world, everybody would like to enjoy the kingdom. And as the kingdom comes, what happens is, first thing is people lose the God, or they don't have any regards to God, because he has now become the emperor. He thinks that he is another god. But here, the king is saying that if I don't see the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I will become angry. Therefore, whenever we get positions, whenever we get any post, some perks, we should know where we are, what is our position, and in that way we should accept the things. Otherwise, in the long run, we'll become the kings, but we'll lose devotion. So, in this way, we will not be doing justice to our devotional service, because at the end we want to go to back to Godhead. Others may want or may not want, we don't know. Nityanand Prabhu continued, the Lord also expressed desire to see the moon-like face of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to his eyes full satisfaction. He would like to raise the lotus feet of the Lord to his heart. So this is what our desire also, that the lotus feet of the Lord be always there in our heart. Now see, yadyapi suniya prabhura komalahaya mana tathapi bahire kahe nishthura vachanam. Hearing all these statements, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mind was certainly softened, but externally he wished to speak them some harsh words. So this is also a very important thing. So externally we are submissive, but internally sometimes we are very aggressive. So sometimes what happens is, to our authority, something we say that I will do the things, but inside our heart we don't want to do the things. So here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mind is softened, but externally he is speaking some harsh words. So sometimes because of maryada, sometimes because of etiquette, we may have to speak hard words, but we should never have enmity towards other person. In our hearts, we should be very soft. So there is something called institutional role and something called personal role. So as an institutional role, what happens is, sometimes we have to take some tough decisions, that we have to remove that devotee. We have to do something which we should not done. But as a personal capacity, we can have relation with that devotee and help it outside the institution. Because we want the institution, but no, we also want devotees, and devotees should not go away because of some small mistakes. And therefore, we need to save both the institution and the devotee. And therefore, whenever some tough decisions are being taken by the institution, the devotee should be ready to take care of the devotee who has been affected by the tough decision taken. Like we have so many cases where devotees, because of being in some situations, we had to remove them, because, and they were not at fault, but because this is what the public opinion is, and today's time, what matters is what is the perception of people, what is the perception of you in the eyes of people. So therefore, they had to be removed. But then some devotees took care of them personally. In this way, they did the job. So therefore, our heart should be very soft. Maybe externally we may speak harsh words or something, but unless our heart is soft, Krishna will not take us back. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I can understand that all you desire to take me to Kataka to see the king. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, what to speak of spiritual advancement? All the people will blaspheme me, and what to speak of all the people? Damodar will chastise me. So here, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is playing the role of a sannyasi, he's saying that people will blaspheme, because that time this was the case. In today's time, the things have changed, and not many will speak like this. And then he says, I shall not meet the king at the request of devotee, but I shall do so if Damodar gives his permission. So Damodar was very strict actually, and he had gained that reputation that he would even chastise Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And therefore here he is saying that I will do so if Damodar will give his permission. So now Damodar will speak. Damodar immediately replied, my lord, you are the fully independent Supreme Personality of Godhead. Since everything is known to you, you know what is permissible and what is not permissible. So Damodar is saying that whom are you fooling? You are Supreme Personality of God and you can do whatever you want. I'm merely an insignificant jiva. So what power do I have to give directions to you? By own personal choice, you will meet the king and I shall see it. So this is what our position is. We are merely insignificant jiva. Even if we die, nothing matters. And therefore, whatever position or post we may given, we should always understand will always remain tiny jiva. So in Jaiva Dharma and so many other books also about Bhaktivinoda Thakur, it's clearly stated that a jiva may become a pure devotee, he may become a liberated, but he will never ever become the controller of Maya energy. He will always, he may not be affected, but he will always uh, he will always be subservient to Maya, or he may not be affected, but they may be living separately, but he will never ever become the Lord. And therefore, that is the difference between Krishna and Jiva. So, Jiva is Tatastha Shakti, and therefore, sometimes he will be attracted to Maya and sometimes to the Antaranga Shakti. But even if he gets liberated, still he will never have the control over the Maya energy. And therefore, we are always insignificant. We are always insignificant. And therefore, we should never ever boast of anything we have. So we may given some good things today, but tomorrow it will be taken away. So therefore, we should do everything in detached way. The king is very much attached to you, and you are feeling affection and love towards him. This I can understand. That by the virtue of king's affection for you, you will touch him. So here, Damodar is saying that gradually this will anyways happen, and you will meet the king. Although your Supreme Personality God and complete independent, you still are dependent on the love and affection of your devotees. This is your nature. So if you see, Krishna is completely independent, but still he is dependent on the love of his devotees, and therefore sometimes Mother Yashoda can chastise him, sometimes his friends chastise him, and therefore, and Krishna also likes when he's been chastised by pure devotees. Nitya Prabhu then said, who is there in the three worlds who can ask you to see the king? Still, isn't it nature of the unattached man to give up his life if he does not attain his desired object? This happens regularly in this world. We have seen now in the colleges and things that so many people, if they don't get their girlfriend or boyfriend, they do suicide. So this is a person of attached person, man, to give up his life if he does not attain his desired object. So we should also try that if we don't get Krishna, we'll give up his life. And the next life again, we'll practice Krishna consciousness very vigorously. But whatever happens, uh, we'll never ever go to different path. We'll always stick to this path and go back to Hare. And their example is given of Brahman Patnis. We know this example. When Krishna was there and he told his friends to go and beg for some food to the Brahman Patnis because Brahmanas did not give anything. Then the Brahman Patnis were very ready to go to give everything to Krishna. And that time, some of the husbands, sons, or fathers, they restricted the Brahman Patnis or the wives of the Brahmanas. And that time, they gave up their lives for the sake of Krishna. Nityananda then submitted one session for Lord's consent. There is a way. He suggested by which you need not meet the king, but which would enable the king to continue living. So this is the role of devotees. The role of devotee is that in whatever circumstance one may find out a way in which the devotee can continue his devotional service. So this is a role which all the mentors, all the counselors need to play. Because as you go up in the ladder, what you will hear is most of the complaints. Most of the times you will be flaunted with so much negativity that we don't have so much control over that. And therefore, here Nityam Prabhu is giving one way that you do not meet the king, but do such a way that king should continue living. So this is very important thing that we should help other devotees in a way that they should continue. एक बाहिर वर्ष यदि देहा कृपा करी, तहा पाइया प्राण राखे तुम्हारा आश धरी. If you, out of your own mercy, send one of your outer guardians to the king would live hoping to see you sometime in the future. So, this is very important thing, that if some devotee is very morose, and that's why we give some garment of Radha Vrindavan Bihari or Radha Gopinath ji or anything to the devotees so that they can continue. We have seen some devotees are very much attached to the Lord, and therefore sometimes the Mahagalya is given, sometimes the foot ornament is given, sometimes the Vastra is given, so that in future they will understand that they will get, like sometimes we see people are so much anxious for getting initiation, first or second, that they are always hoping that this time I will get, this time I will get, but they don't get, and they are very much morose, and sometimes they even leave the services which they are doing. So that time other devotees can give them hope, give them some things that they can continue hoping, because if hope is not there, it's very difficult to continue devotional service. The Lord says, since we are very learned personalities, whatever you said, I shall accept. So now this is a middle point where Lord is accepting the devotee's proposal. So in different cases where there is controversies, where there is mismatch, or where there is arguments, both can agree on minimum things. Here, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not agreeing to meet the king, but when they said, just give your garment, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu happily agreed. And then Lord Nityananda Prabhu then obtained an external garment used by Lord by requesting it from Govinda. So we know Govinda is a personal servant of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he used to serve him day and night. So he had the garments, and Lord Nityananda Prabhu took it. So Nityananda Prabhu delivered the old cloth into the care of Samu Bhattacharya, and Samu Bhattacharya sent it to the king. So even services, what we do, will only happen this way. Like if we see, whenever there is a marathon, so there is a mashal in the hand, so one person gives to another, another person gives to the third person. In this way, they complete it. Similarly, when we also have some responsibilities, it is not that we alone will be able to do it. Actually, we alone have nothing to do. What we can do is, like, we take some part, give it to others, and like realize that person will give to others and others and others. Like this way it will go on. So we need to do just our part and leave the rest. We cannot do all the things. And therefore, here also, if we see it's a relay race, Nityananda Prabhu is giving cloth to Sarvam Bhattacharya and Sarvam sends to king. So in this way, we should plan our services also so that maximum can be done. Vasta paya raja rahela nandita mana, Prabhu rupa kari kare vastera pujana. When the king received the old cloth, he began to worship it exactly as he would worship the Lord personally. So this is way how the Lord or Lord's paraphernalia is to be worshipped, and that what king does. After returning from his service in South India, Raman Rai requested the king to allow him to remain with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Raman Rai requested the king to allow him to stay with the Lord, the king immediately gave him permission with great satisfaction. As for the king himself, he began to solicit Raman Rai to make a meeting arrangement. See, this is a very important thing. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Lord, and Pratapdeva Maharaj wants to meet the Lord, and he's trying for so much time, and he is not being allowed to meet the Lord. At the same time, Ramanand Rai is working, Ramanand Rai is working under Pratapdeva Maharaj, and Ramanand Rai is getting a chance to be with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sometimes what happens is, we don't get a chance to meet Maharaj. We don't get a chance to serve Maharaj. But some of our devotees who have come after us, similarly, in this life we have seen, maybe they have come before us, we don't know in previous life. But after us, they have come and they get services to do with Maharaj or some important projects. And that time, how do we feel? See, the king gave him permission with great satisfaction. So king was happy that Raman Rai is allowed to stay with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he himself was not. So what happens if somebody else is given a permission to sing, and somebody else is given a permission to be in the center stage, and we think that we are better than them, we are smarter than them, but we are not being given any position nor any service. And that time, how do we feel? Do we feel satisfaction that our junior is being progressing very nicely or not? So this is a very important thing to consider. And this will depend on how much we will progress in our devotional service. If we are not happy seeing our juniors progress more than us, actually, what Maharaj says is our juniors should be more better than us, or we should make leaders which are much better than us and who should be labeled to take. Even Radheshyam Prabhu says that before we retire, we should have at least 3 successors who can take our responsibility very nicely, so that the mission does not stop. And at the same time, we can also retire. And therefore, here if we see, king immediately gave him permission with great satisfaction. And then what happened is king said that, "O Rama and Rai, you are there with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Please help me also to meet king." So he's not that he's in depression. He's also expressing his desire that I also want to meet the king. Can you please help me? So when somebody is going ahead, instead of being envying against them, if we ask that person to tell us that how he's doing so good, he will be more eager to tell us his secrets. And in this way, we can also progress. But if we are envious, what will happen is we'll definitely degrade. That person will envious go up. But because of the envy which we have, it will be converted into Vaishnava aparad. And because of that aparad, we may be staying in this material world. And then Mahaprabhu Mahakripa Karina Tomara Mora Mili Bare Avashya Sadhiba Tahara. So King told Rama, Chaitanya is very, very merciful to you. Therefore, please solicit my meeting with him without fail. So I am sending you, please do something. And then the King Rama and I returned to Jagannath Puri. And one important thing is, Pratapruddha Maharaj gave whole salary to Rama and I. It is not that Rama and I left the services of Pratapruddha Maharaj, went Chaitanya, he cut his salary. No. He gave whole salary. So that was an important point. Since Rama and met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So they brought together and they met. At that time, Raman Rai informed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu about the aesthetic love of the king indeed. As soon as there was some opportunity, repeatedly inform our Lord about the king. So very important thing, whenever we get time, we should glorify other person. As soon as we get time, we should glorify other person. Wherever is opportunity. See, most of the times we are egocentric, we are our own centric, that we want to glorify ourselves, we want to hear ourselves glorify. But that doesn't work in the long run. What works is if we glorify other devotees. Wherever you get chance, we glorify other devotees. In this way, what will happen? The whole Vaishnava community benefits. And naturally, there will be no envy and everyone will be happy. And therefore, here, you see, he repeatedly informed the Lord about the king. So whenever he got an opportunity, he then told, oh, see how the king loves you. So this is a very important thing. Whatever opportunity we have, we should try to glorify others. And when we glorify others, what happens is the qualities for which we glorify gradually comes to us also. Similarly, what happens if we criticize others, the bad things which others have gradually come to us also. So therefore, glorifying is always easier than criticizing. So Raja Mantri Ramananda Vyavara Nipuna Raja Priti Kahi Davila Prabhu Raman. So Sri Raman Rai was indeed a diplomat minister. His generally behavior was very expert, and simply by discerning the king's law for Chaitanya, he gradually softened the Lord's mind. So before even we meet some person, how we behave or respond to that person depends on whatever we have heard about that person. And therefore, hearing from the right source is very important. Sometimes what happens is we hear from devotees who are Kanishta devotees, and we don't take the whole overall picture. And therefore, our association with Madhyam devotees, our association with Uttam devotees will tell how much we have progressed. If we do not have connection with Uttam devotees, our progress is very, very less. And therefore, each and every devotee should have some connection with advanced devotees. He should try very hard that he has some time to give to the advanced devotees, or he has some time. And what happens in ISKCON generally is most of the advanced devotees are very busy. If we see Maharaj or Prabhupada or something things, they are very busy. So the easiest way to get their time is to help them in some service. So if we help them in their services, they can give their time to us. Otherwise, because they have so many services, they will never be able to give time. And therefore, if we get their time, our progress in devotional is very fast. Otherwise, if we ourselves try, it will be very difficult for us to rise ourselves in devotional service. Because we have our mind, we have our anathas, and how much can we help ourselves? But when the senior devotees pushes us, they guide us, it's very easy. And therefore, very important that as soon as we get some opportunity, we should try to serve advanced devotees. And in this way, because we are serving advanced devotees, we'll naturally be in contact with them because of something or other. And in this way, we can also progress faster. And therefore, a devotee who has association of advanced devotee is much more fortunate than any other person. Therefore, if we want to consider how a devotee is fortunate and what is his fortune, is his association. And suppose somebody has no time for chanting, hearing, or other thing, or he has only limited time, then first thing he should do is associate with devotees. As soon as associate with devotees, what devotees tell? Start chanting, start reading. And this way, all the other things can be revived. And therefore, very important point. And this association of devotees is not only important in the initial stage. Even when it advances, one reaches to bhava stage or prem stage, still association of devotees is very vital for them and for us to grow. And therefore, we should know how to associate. Maharaj Pratap in great anxiety could not endure not seeing the Lord. Therefore, Sri Raman Rai by his diplomacy arranged a meeting with the Lord for the king. So Raman Rai is arranging a meeting for the king. Sri Raman Rai frankly questioned him, please show your lotus feet to the king at least once. So he replied, my dear Ramanan, you should make this request after really considering whether it is befitting for a sannyasi to meet the king. So while doing our bhakti, we should also take care of the rules and regulation of this material world. We cannot artificially do something where we get criticized from this material world. So we should also take care that the general rules and regulations of this material world are being followed. If the mendicant means the king, this word and next word are both destroyed for the mendicant. Indeed, what is there to say in of the next word in this world? People will joke if the sannyasi meets a king. So this dress of a mendicant, this brahmachari dress or the sannyasi, the saffron dress, is not so easy. It has lot of responsibilities. The respect given to this dress is very high. At the same time, the punishment given is also very high. So if a brahmachari sannyasi does something wrong, the whole people will make joke. And therefore, very important to protect the person. And therefore, to do work in limits is very good. And then Ramanand replied, my lord, you are supreme personality present. You have nothing to fear from anyone because you are dependent on, you're not dependent on anyone. So Ramayana said, you are king. Oh, sorry, you are supreme personality of God. Why do you want to be fear from anything? And what does he say? When Raman addressed Chaitanya, a supreme person of God, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu objected saying, I am not the supreme person of God, but an ordinary human being. Therefore, I must public with mind, body, and words. So if we want to make devotees, if we want to make people devotees, the most important thing is they should never ever criticize devotees. If outsiders criticize devotees, they will not become devotees. So outsiders will always glorify devotees. And therefore, if people are not becoming devotees, it is because the devotee's action in terms of body, mind, and words are not appropriate. The actions of devotees in terms of body and mind and words should be such that people in general are attracted to them. And if people in general are attracted to them, then only they can become devotees. And therefore, very important of how we behave in general. And therefore, a devotee should be very sober, very good behavior, always smiling, and always humble. So if he has all these characters, he can make others devotee very fast. And if somebody is very angry, he should not come in public, then he should do some background services. Otherwise, he will be responsible for so many people not becoming devotees. As soon as the general public finds a little fault in the behavior of sannyasi, they advertise it like wildfire. A black spot or ink of ink cannot be hidden on a white cloth. It is always very prominent. So very important thing. As soon as somebody finds some fault in sannyasi, they will advertise like wildfire. And therefore, brahmacharis and sannyasis are very rare species. Very, very rare. To come inside is difficult. At the same time, as soon as something is being seen, the whole people who respect them, in a day, they will start disrespecting them. It is like somebody was a king and now he's become a thief in a day. So this is what happens, and therefore it's very, very always very prominent, and therefore devotional life is not so easy. Ramana replied, my lord, you have delivered so many sinful people. The king, Pratap of the king is actually servitor of the Lord of and your devotee. So Ramana says, anyways, you have delivered so many sinful people. Why not the king? And he's also your devotee. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that there may be milk in a big pot, but if it's contained by a drop of liquor, it is untouchable. So one drop of liquor can make the whole milk untouchable. Similarly, one bad quality in a devotee may make him ineligible to go back to God. He may have so many good qualities, but if one bad quality is there, he may not get services, he may not be anywhere. And therefore, one should be very, very careful. And then the king possesses all good, but simply by taking the name king, he has infected everything. But if you are still very eager for the king to meet, please bring his son to meet me. So now again, other devotee, that is son, will get his mercy, but the king will not get. And then he says, it is indicated that in a rival sister, the son represents the father. Therefore, the son's meeting with me would be just as good as the king meeting with me. So again, the son is considered as good as father, and therefore we see when the Romaharshan Sutta was killed, his son was then given the position, and then the Sut Goswami came and he spoke the Bhagavatam. So Raman Rai went then to inform the king about this talk with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and following the Lord order, brought the king's son to see him. And the prince, just entering upon his youth, was very beautiful. He was blackish in complexion and had large lotus eyes. And the prince was dressed in yellow cloth, and there were jeweled ornaments in his body. Therefore, anyone who saw him would remember Lord Krishna. And seeing the boy, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately remembered Krishna. Meeting the boy in aesthetic love, the Lord began to speak. Here is a great devotee, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, upon seeing me, everyone can remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, son of Maharaj Nanda. So this is the abhushan of devotee. If by seeing us, people can remember Krishna, then that is our great success. By wearing tilak, by wearing kanti mala, by our actions, by having beadbacks, if somebody remembers Krishna, that is our jai, and therefore that is our success. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, I have become very much obliged just by seeing this boy. After saying this, the Lord again embraced the prince. And what happened when Krishna embraces us? As soon as the prince was touched by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the symptoms of his love immediately manifest themselves in the body. These symptoms included perspiration, trembling, tears, being stunned, and jubilation. The boy began to cry and dance, and he chanted, Krishna, Krishna. Upon seeing these bodily symptoms and his chanting and dancing, all the devotees praised him for his great spiritual fortune. At that time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu calmed the youth and ordered him to come there daily to meet him. Raman Rai and the boy then departed from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Ramanand took him back to King's Palace. The king was very happy when he heard of son's activities. So again, the king is not getting anything, but his son got. And again, the king was happy. So in our time also, so many people will come after us and go ahead. And are we happy seeing them all going ahead? Or we think that, oh, when I will go ahead? Just by embracing son, the king was filled with asset love, just as if he touched Chaitanya Mahaprabhu directly. And from then on, the fortunate priest was one of the intimate devotees of the Lord. Thus, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu acted in the society of pure devotees, performing the pastimes and spreading the Sankirtana movement. Some of the prominent devotees like Advaita Charya used to invite Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to take it meals at his home. The Lord accepted his invitation and accompanied by his devotees. And this way, the Lord passed some day in great liberation. Then the car festival of Jagannath Puri approached. So I think I will just wait here. If somebody has any questions or somebody wants to share something, then we'll take. Because I think 7 o'clock somebody wants to leave. I hope the class was okay. And I don't know how you all take it.
Very nice, Prabhuji. Thank you.
It was very nice, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
So much lessons in each and every verse. And you are speaking very fast also. I wanted to note down, but hopefully I'll get the recording to note it down again.
Yeah, I don't know. This is the speed at which we talk and we complete one chapter in a day here. So you know about how things go at your end. So whatever your feedback, we'll do accordingly and then change the speed and the timings and all. I hope English is okay with everybody.
Yes. English is okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes. I missed the first part because I joined late. Sorry, I just went and forgot to join. Then I remember.
I will send the recordings. I think the recordings has been done. I'll just
Yeah, the link you can send and then you can watch.